Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Groove podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with season 2, episode
Mhm.
number 9 of Foundation. Long ago, not far away. IMDb gave this a 9.4, which is still fire.
That's accurate. I think that's fair. I
Yeah,
would give it a 10 though, but I
yeah.
think that's fair.
10s all around, man. I mean, every segment, every scene was a 10 on this joint. Man, we
Mhm.
found out a lot. Everything we were talking about actually is true. Demerzel is like running a whole camp, right?
Yeah. We alluded to it. We thought that that's possible what's going on, and it makes sense because she's there the longest. She tells them what to think when they're kids, and they use her for advice. So obviously she's running things. It just
Totally.
makes sense.
You know, the other thing that was kind of interesting about this, just to show you, like, I mean, it all came to light to me, like when she
Mhm.
was on the 20th Fleet, and she was like, "I have to go," and like,
Yeah.
Day couldn't do anything. He is the Empire.
Yeah,
He
you
can
can
do
like you have to
anything.
stay with me. Nothing.
No,
He's just like, all right, I
yeah,
guess you're going now.
because I think he's programmed to like, okay, she has to do whatever she wants to. That was really interesting to me. That sort of brought everything to light. I
Mhm.
was like, wow, this is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Very crazy. This episode, man, what I don't what I love about this is the
Mhm.
ninth episode. We have a finale this week.
Mhm.
They gave us this at the ninth episode. That's how
Mhm.
fire this show is. They gave us all of this craziness.
This week coming up is gonna be nuts. It
It's
has
gonna
to
be
be the
it's
fallout, like like who died, like who's left on the planet, because the planet's messed up.
yeah.
Like, it's done. It's a wrap. They gotta go somewhere else if they're still alive at this point. Because you can see almost half of the planet is just wrecked, like completely wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
So if somehow someone was on the other side of the planet, they survived. That's gonna be amazing in the feat of itself. So the foundation is destroyed. That's completely different from the books. We're in a whole
Excuse me.
different area right now from the
Mm-hmm.
books. That foundation is jacked. I don't think there's any survivors on the planet. Bell had to kill his husband, which is wild. You'd sit there and talk to him about it. It was like,
They
ah,
were
damn it,
reminiscing and
the
whatnot.
person's putting. Yeah. He sat there and cried, and there's like nothing he could do about it.
Dave was like,
I
oh,
mean,
you are so weak.
yeah, that was all of that was wild. Like the emotional aspect of it is interesting.
Yeah.
I do like, when we do some guesses and we try to figure out what's going to happen or whatever, or what the overall arc of the show is going to be. But
Mm-hmm.
this was interesting. I did not expect them to blow the planet up like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
You
And
know
and I
what?
thought there was going to be more spaceships. I thought more they were going to pop out of space and
Oh,
defend the planet. But they're like, nope,
I
we ain't
was
telling nothing.
listen, I was to be honest with you,
Mhm.
there's something about that whole segment that just doesn't sit right with me. It was
Mhm.
too easy. Too easy, right?
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
too easy for all of this to happen over 200, 300 years, the foundation,
Mhm.
and then for them to just like, you know, go down that easily.
Mhm.
That doesn't sound right to me. I'm not quite sure
Well,
if that's true or not.
yeah, I don't think that's true either
Hmm.
to that standpoint, because I think the foundation is somewhere else. I think that enough of the people that are there, excuse me, I think enough of the people that were there from the original foundation has spread out, because it just seems like there's kids and not enough. I don't know. It didn't seem like the foundation was there. It just felt like just a couple people were hanging around, but the
Yeah.
actual foundation is still spread out all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I think from Dave's perspective, I think he thinks he hit the foundation and it's a wrap.
Yeah.
There's no more people left. That's it. Everybody's there,
Mhm.
and that doesn't seem to be the case.
Too
Because
easy.
you had but you had the two religious people that you captured or
Yeah. The
whatever,
clerics.
and they're on the clerics, right? They're on different planets talking to other people. So you don't even know how many planets they're on. You're just guesstimating here.
Yeah.
So you think if you just hit them here, that's it, it's done. I doubt that highly. So you still have, you uh Gaal. That's Foundation 2 over there. and like, they don't have to leave anymore because they killed Tellem. So I mean, Foundation's not gone anywhere really.
Yeah. Well,
We'll talk about that in a second.
yeah, but isn't didn't Harry talk about like a Foundation being on his home planet?
Yeah, but okay, so there's supposed to be two Foundations, as
Mhm.
far as we know. Now, if they probably changed it around for the books to make it different and more interesting, but there's supposed to be one on Trantor and one on what's the other planet? Ignis, something?
Ignis, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so there's supposed to be two. There those two places, something like that.
Yeah.
There or it's the idea of the second Foundation is like hidden, but it's there. It's somewhere else, and both of these two ones are going strong. They're not they're not eliminated or anything like that. They're going strong. So at least right now, I don't know where this goes or how this is going to be different from the books, but there should be two. There definitely needs to be two Foundations.
Yeah.
This is interesting. This
and
is
we don't
very
even
interesting.
know if they destroyed, like, again, like I said, I don't even know if he destroyed the Foundation, the first one. I don't even know. Because I
Well, I don't
remember
think
you alluded to
I
the
don't think
fact
they're on the
that,
planet.
yeah, I think you alluded to the fact during one episode where for them to be, to have all of this knowledge and everything, right? Just
Mhm,
psychohistory, the planet
mhm.
wasn't developed. I mean, they were living in like these small
They
bungalows and
were
stuff
still
like that.
yeah,
Hmm.
they're still in those shipping containers, man.
Yeah, so I'm just like,
They didn't build it up over 100 years. You didn't build nothing with all that technology. That don't make any sense.
no mega clubs, no bars, no lounges. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? You
They
know,
still in those, yeah, 2x4 shipping container. Like, that's what the planet looks like.
yeah.
You
So
try and do anything to the planet, you just left it as is. I think that's a false flag right there, or I don't know what the term is, but like that seems fake. That seems very fake.
yo, listen. I just came up with a theory. I'm going to talk about it. It
Hmm.
has to do with the metallics,
Hmm.
Tellem, and Terminus, the Foundation.
Okay.
Because again, and the reason why you just came up with this theory is because I don't think the Foundation has been destroyed, but we can get to that. You want to give a brief
Oh,
overview, then we can get
that's a
into
very
it?
good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point
Mm-hmm.
because they're capable of showing you what you want to see
Right?
without actually seeing it. So
Right.
they're capable of it. Is it possible that because second foundation is in the past? It's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Current foundation is going on right now, so it's possible that second foundation's up and running. They got all their metallics, whatever. They're all good to go,
Mm-hmm.
and first foundation doesn't even know it yet that second foundation's alive and running things, and he maybe went back to that planet to help them out, and they don't know it.
Yeah.
That's
Because
a possibility.
Right, because Harry, he's trying to obtain all of these different technologies like the spacers.
Hmm.
And why did he go to Ignis where the metallics were? Because they had
Hmm.
these powers, and I
Hmm.
mean that would be a sick twist if that was really true, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. But like we know for a fact, second foundation is in the past.
Yeah.
It's still so. What we're seeing here, our time frame is off because they're presenting it as going on together, but it's not together. We don't know how far in the past, but it's pretty far.
Yeah, that's true.
So anything's possible right now. Anything's literally
Oh my
possible. This
goodness,
could all be
man.
like a ruse. And these guys leave like this planet's destroyed. All right, let's get out of here. Everything's still good though. Anything's possible, really.
People were like dancing in the streets like the what is it, like the Wizard of Oz? Ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch is dead, the witch
Yeah,
is dead. It's like
yeah.
no, 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 no. I'm still here. Like
Sorry,
I'm
bro.
still here, guys.
you know. But you want to give a brief overview, then we can get into it.
So, okay, the show primarily dealt with uh Gail and her trying to get the Prime Radiant back, or trying to get the Prime Radiant, and it dealt with the day side of what's going on,
Mhm.
and a little bit, a very very beginning of the show is dealing with Demerzel
Yeah.
and her history of what's going on and how she got to where she is and
Wow.
why she is like that.
Mhm.
And It is fascinating. I would watch a
Totally.
whole show about it. You could just do a show on
Give
Demerzel.
me
I
a
would
show
watch
on
that.
her. Give me a show on like
Yeah.
Demerzel. Give me a show on the Spacers. Give me shows. They have a lot of like runway for all this stuff.
You got show, like you got time. Like
Yeah.
throw another show out there. The prequels, do it cartoon, whatever you want to do. This doesn't matter. Just make
Yeah.
another show. So Demerzel is giving her perspective. Well, it's a day. Is it day or
It's
it's
the
not day?
Cleon the First.
Yeah. Well, Cleon the First,
Yeah.
official Cleon the First, is giving the tale of Demerzel, how he found her, everything about her, or whatever, and it is fascinating because she's been around for a long, long time. So we said, what is it, 18,000 years?
She's
been around?
she is over 18,000 years old. She's been in the chamber. She's been locked up for 5,000 years, dude.
That's wild.
Come on,
man. That is wild. Well, she's a robot, so she's just staring at the wall for 5,000 years.
Don't need food, don't need anything to drink, nothing. She's all sliced up, the whole nine, crazy.
They took her apart like little slices like that, and she's just staring at the wall for 5,000 years. That's nuts.
Wow.
See, that's what I'm saying. I could watch a show about all of that. That's fascinating to me. You can skip over the 5,000 years in the box, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing, I would be down with that. But so she's telling her stories to original Cleon #1, and he's the one that found her. And it's fascinating how he was supposed to get married and said, "Screw that! I'm just gonna make brothers," and he's gonna marry you.
I want to make half.
And it was like, yeah. And by the way, you can't leave. Sorry, bro.
No.
That's wild. All that's wild to me. Everything about that is wild to me. So everything that happened to her is very interesting. That's very interesting. But that's not the show ended with that. I'm like, okay, this is fire.
Yeah,
this is fire right here.
Right.
No, that's not what happened with the show.
No,
show's got two more
sequels.
Chapters,
yeah,
and they're crazy. Like this is crazy at itself. So, we gotta talk about Gaal because she fought Tellem. she got their powers back from Tellem.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. Tellem's over.
She's done.
And who killed Tellem? Who killed Tellem?
The guy who came back from the dead.
I got all kind of questions about that. This next episode better be very, very Isaac heavy. Like heavy.
Yeah.
We need to figure out what the hell happened here.
Yeah, man. It's yeah, that was wow. Crazy. And then you have go ahead.
Oh, I'm saying they get into a fight, whatever, because Salvor has to go kill her ex-boyfriend or whatever.
That was tough on her, dude.
That was rough, man. That was very rough. I'm like,
right?
where is this going? Where exactly is this going? So, she gets in there and, all is lost except, oh, snap. Honestly, this is crazy. Like, this is what I'm saying. If the show was just this part of the show, I'd be like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So you had Demerzel, and it's like, oh, snap, this is great. Then you got this whole thing with Gaal, and this is great.
On Ignis, right.
On Ignis, and this is great, too. And then there's another chapter.
On Terminus,
and another chapter on Terminus. And the other chapter is nuts.
These were like, you were so right, because if you took these 3 shows, right, and you said, these 3 segments, and you said, let's break those down into shows, they will be 10s in my mind.
Yes, individually.
Yeah.
Individually.
For sure.
Like the fact that Harry just comes out of nowhere and it's like, I'm just tired of her. What did he say? I'm tired of her talking, something like that. She's frustrating.
He was like, man, she got knocked upside the head for real a couple times. Come on.
He hit her a couple times, like just bow.
God,
man.
Oh my goodness. That was we'll talk about Tellem because I have my thoughts about her. Tellem.
We gotta get to it.
The baby face assassin.
All right, so and then we got to get over to
Terminus.
Ignis.
Yeah,
Terminus. Sorry, and they're in an absolute Star Wars battle here.
Man, that
got
was
the ships
awesome.
fighting.
That was.
They're taking down capital ships. They're just it was wild. It was very wild. and exciting too, because I didn't know where this was going. I was like, because based upon the book, because we're past book level now, we're doing something else.
Yeah.
So for the most part, the show was kind of keeping the concepts and everything else for there, but we're past the book level now.
Yeah.
So they destroy
We're
the planet.
we're
It is
into
wrecked.
super creativity right now.
Yeah, the planet is wrecked. I think they're still gonna take some ideas from the books, but it's a whole thing now. It's its own thing, and I respect the balls to do it because like you have something that's loved, and personally because I haven't read the books. Personally, I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
I think this show is pretty good.
Right. Because
But
Demerzel is a man in the book, right?
yes,
So, but I think that if you're going to take something like these books, Foundation, and add your own creativity to it, and it's really good, I don't think anyone
it
can
has to
say
be good.
anything, right?
That's the key part. Is it has to be good.
It has to be good. That's it.
The actors they have are all good actors, and especially Harry. Harry's amazing.
Yeah.
And Demerzel is amazing, and Day is amazing. So like, that's the part I care about the most. All the other stuff is kind of like, well, it's fine, whatever. But like, those three are all awesome on the show, and so like that helps ease the changes they've made to the books. I don't take it personally, but again, like I'm not an avid Foundation fan like that. Like I've heard about it before, and I was like, I'm gonna read it. I'm probably gonna read it now for sure.
Yeah.
But I will. It was more of a, this is fascinating, or it's kind of cool because I love space, and that kind of stuff, the Star Trekky, Star Warsy stuff.
Yeah.
I do like that, and this gives you an aspect of the future and the war and all that other stuff. So it's good. Like overall, I think it's good, and the way they're taking aspects of the show of the book and putting into the show,
awesome.
I like.
It's awesome.
I like. I don't think it's a problem, to be honest.
I don't think it's a problem either, man.
But again, like we're not book people, so like
Yeah.
book people probably punching people and fighting right now.
Right.
And I don't know. Like I can't say for certain. I don't know.
So before we start getting into the segments, I just want to give a big shout out to everyone who watched the last review we did for episode number 8. They left some really great comments. You guys took it over to 2,000. Really appreciate that. I was like watching a video, and the next thing you know, it was 100, then it was 300, then it was over 2,000. So everyone who watched the video, everyone who left a comment, really appreciate it. Thank you. So now, let's get into Lady Demerzel. Man, listen. Okay, so we know this is Cleon the First, right? We also know that before Cleon was a seed, Demerzel had been in this chamber, this prison, for 5,000 years. We also know that Demerzel is over 18,000 years old. So, and the person whoever put in there, was just fascinated with that female robot. And you know what? I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think about some sci-fi shows I watch where they sort of sliced up a robot like that and had them in sections and everything. I was like, the technology. So check this out. To do that, she said she had been in the chamber for 5,000 years. 5,000 years ago, they had that sort of technology.
Well, no, 18,000 years ago they had this technology.
No. She's been in a chamber. She's been locked up.
Yeah, no. Let's say, but the stuff that built her to be able to be separated like that has been created 18,000 years ago.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
And
which is absolutely nuts.
He also alluded to the fact that when he released her, he got her some like technology from Earth. So Earth had all this sort of technology as well.
Yeah.
So he was basically Demerzel, Cleon as a boy went in, saw her, and then was like touched her. Then she was like, "I have stories. Are you gonna let me loose?" Blah 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 blah. Right? And so he was listening to the stories as he was getting older, and then they were saying that her stories became more explicit. She was telling a lot more sexually explicit stories. Cleon was getting super excited about that, right?
He's right. He's listen to stories like I'll be back. I
Right,
got a couple things for you.
and then he was about to marry someone, but then he called it off because this guy's basically fell in love with a robot who was locked up, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. He's got to be patient, man. Shoot your shot. Like,
Yo,
that's all it is.
and all he wanted was, and we spoke about this offline, this was all because he fell in love with her and he just really wanted to better, right? Do you think that's what it was all about?
He's trying to smash. He's trying to smash and not die. That's the key part.
Right, exactly. So this is the interesting thing, right? So he created this whole genetic dynasty.
Yeah.
And so he basically was saying like, yo, these are going to be our kids. You're really in charge, right? And the sad thing about that whole thing, he called his brothers from like Cleon the second on up to Cleon the 18th.
Come half
men. These fools are half men. They have no clout. I mean, every generation, the Cleon dynasty goes down or whatever. Demerzel has the ability to hold so much from them and everything else. And like we said, man, she's running the whole show. Come on.
Yeah. This is interesting. It's really interesting, the dynamic here, because so she's been running this thing from the beginning. Because you got to think the second Cleon's got to be a baby. And so she's got to raise him up to be like at least like 18, 19. Right. It's like, okay, you can take over now.
Yeah.
So she can tell him anything she wants.
Yeah.
And it's done. It's a wrap. So I guess the second one is where the foundation for what your leadership's going to be, how you can act, everything like that. And I second one just set the standard of going forward. So she probably spent a good amount of time like explaining this kid like what it's going to be like and how I want you to be, whatever. And she's just setting this up for the future for herself.
Wow.
So she's just good, which is wild when you think about that. Because if you started doing the dynasty when it was younger, this thing he would have more say about what they're going to be like. But she has all the say because this first one's a baby. He didn't get started on this until later on in life. He's got to be like 60, 70. He's pretty old.
Yeah.
He was pretty old when he started this. So that's crazy.
I mean, exactly, because he like released her like when he was like really old, And the other really fascinating thing about this, as Cleon the first was explaining to Cleon the 17th, and Cleon the 18th. And also Rue, he was explaining that to them, and then he locked them up in a chamber.
Dude, I have so many questions.
And you know what? Demerzel got an alert from that. That's why she had to go back to Trantor, right? She got an alert,
I think
some sort of
like, uh-oh.
Yeah, like what's going on, So it's just like, wow. So she can go back, get rid of that Cleon, get rid of Dusk, get rid of Rue, spin up another one, no one to know anything, right?
Yeah. Because there's versions of all of them, each age.
That's crazy, dude.
It's nuts.
That is crazy, man.
Nuts.
I mean, just like how you can it's almost like, Mark Zuckerberg had, when they used to talk about he had like, 100 of the same t-shirt. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna wear another. It's like, it's the same t-shirt. It's just like, why would you buy 100 of the same t-shirt? I don't get that.
See, now,
like
here's
crazy.
the question. Like, when you think about this, right? How many Cleons have they spun up? Because, we go with the line from with this age, this is the 17th or whatever.
Right.
But they could have spun up like 5 or 6 out of that 17. So we could have hundreds of them.
Right.
That have been spun up over time or whatever. Like, it could be.
Right. Or even
that's the possibility.
Even spun up some that, just didn't work out. So they had to get rid of them. So, bring up another one.
Yeah, that's possible too.
And they did that because they got rid of remember they got rid of Day when he went down to the Scar to get some yummy cakes, and they got rid of him, so
yeah, like
to spin up another one.
Out. Sorry, bro, it can work out here.
So it's kind of crazy, man. This was this segment was, like you said, this could have been its own episode, and I would have given it a 10. Period.
Yeah, but fine. Absolutely. They could have done like, I would say 3 more shows easily, and it would have been fine. Just based on everything that happened in this episode, could have been 3 different shows.
Yeah.
And it been good for me.
Man, this episode was so good. Now, if we go to your favorite character of all times, Tellem.
Let's go. Let's go.
I mean, okay, so
She was winning, basically. Let's be real. She was winning.
in the only way, okay, so in the only way she sort of you know, well, first of all, it was Salvor. Salvor is just every episode. She is just.
I rock with Salvor.
I am
Salvor's a
I
G.
am rocking with Salvor. And her fighting skills got a little better, huh?
Got a little bit better.
A little bit better.
She's a little wiser with what she could and couldn't do.
I was like, okay, sound effects are pretty cool, but come on, this is really, you're not kicking butt like that,
Yeah, I know, like just chill.
For real, But yeah, Salvor, man, she is like, let me go here, wait a minute. Okay, cool. Salvor is yeah, I'm feeling her. So Salvor was the one who broke the sort of the mind meld, that Tellem was doing on old girl.
Now the question is, how much of this mind meld got into Gaal? Because we don't know.
Well,
does it only work when you get the whole thing in there and then it's a wrap, or like she's got 60%, 70% of her brain in there? How's it gonna affect her?
Okay, two things. Oh wow, that's pretty good. Okay, so two things. Couldn't it also be possible that Tellem, Gaal got some of what Tellem had, right?
That's possible.
Yeah. And then the other thing is this, right? So when Salvor sort of like threw those things and like sort of broke up everything, the mind meld. And so when she grabbed Gaal and, Gaal still had the weird eyes. And then when she smacked the mess out of Gaal, Gaal said, "It's me, I'm here." She said, "It's me, I'm here." So I think she's pretty okay. And then the other thing is like when they went back to the ship, when they went back to the beggar, Gaal was herself. She was trying to fight. She needs some fighting skills. She needs some martial arts classes. Someone needs to train her on some stuff like that, or she needs to like really, pump up her powers, right? But when Gaal was trying to get at Loran, and then Loran kept playing Hugo, right? Loran. And here's the thing, right? Every time he switched over to Hugo, you can tell she got a little tingly. She was like, "Oh, love, Yeah, exactly. So it was just like, and I kept saying, "No, you know what it is. Come on, right?
Don't do it. That guy's dead.
You know what it is
right now."
But that was brilliant because it was like, show her the emotional part just to get an upper hand, right? So it was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, which is smart. I mean, as a fight skill, right? That's pretty smart.
And then when her and sort of Loran was fighting, a shot went off and hit the ship. And that's when Gaal was able to start beating up Tellem. Because she was smashing her head and everything. And, and then Gaal was like, not Gaal, but Tellem crawled away. When she crawled away, it reminded me of like some of these mob flicks that you watch sometimes and they're like about to like take someone out and they're like, "Oh, don't shoot me." And they're crawling. They're like, "Get over here, you rat." And then they just like, man, and then they just, broke it off and whatnot.
Yeah.
How do you think, let me ask you this, right? Is Harry really alive? Or, what do you think? What's going on?
I got questions. I got lots of questions.
Do you have like a high level theory that you thought about once you saw Harry?
Well, now here's the thing, right? Harry could be a robot because he's got to look like he was dead, and be there for a minute, and he just bounced after like we're done with this thing. He could just leave. Because I think think about it too, right? If they knew he was a robot, they would just destroy him right there. There's no way they would allow that. So it's possible that Harry's been a robot this entire time because we just assumed that they took this thing and put a new body on him. It's like, get out there. We just assumed that. We don't know because he's downloaded his entire consciousness into the Prime Radiant, right? So like, you could just do a recreation of his body based on the information you have from the Prime Radiant. So that's possible.
But which Prime Radiant? Technology. Which Prime Radiant? Because
they have the original.
Yeah, they did.
They don't have a copy.
Well, at least we think they have the original, right?
Well, Harry gave a Prime Radiant today, so we don't know what's going on with that either. what does he think he's gonna do with that? Like,
Oh
he don't know how to
yeah,
use it.
I have.
He just took it. He has no idea what he's gonna do
I
with
have
it.
a theory
That's gonna
about
wreck
that too.
him.
You know.
That thing's gonna wreck his country.
Okay, so based on what you're saying,
Mhm.
where does Kelly come into place? Where does she come in? Does she have anything to do with any of this in terms of Harry being alive? You know, anything?
That's
Because she did
possible.
bring him. She did bring him back. She made him a biological again, an organic, right?
Yeah, but like, I don't think that it's a regular organic. I think he's a robot because they said that Demerzel, you couldn't tell the difference. They didn't know. They thought that she was regular human too, based on touch and everything like that. They couldn't tell. So it's possible to create, androids or whatever. That's possible in that future realm. And they're on a place that built
Mm,
stuff like that.
okay.
So like everything is possible. The gates are open for possibilities here. He could be human,
Mm-hmm.
but he died, or they could have done something to his body to make him, withstand basic stuff like that. So because he just drowned basically. Like that was if you were half android or whatever, you could do something to make you stay looking like you died
Yeah.
just for a long enough. So he
Mm-hmm.
can sense it in the area around him and be like, I gotta stay dead for a little bit, like maybe 2 days. They don't know how long he was there for, because I think when he died was who came over? The Salvor came over there
Yeah.
like right after he died,
Mm-hmm.
and they killed her, or they tried to kill her too.
They just put her to sleep a little bit, like go to
Yeah,
sleep
they
in the
just
water.
put her to sleep. Yeah,
you know,
go to sleep.
you know what's weird? Though, like what you're saying is, remember like when
Mhm,
Cleon the First was talking to Demerzel, like when he released her, and he basically
mhm,
said, you can go out here and build other robots. And
mhm,
what people have been saying in the comments is
mhm.
that there are other robots on Trantor.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't
So,
think she's the only
and like I was saying, you just can't be the only unique robot in the entire galaxy. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
No. Somebody has to be able to build something.
Yeah,
So that's to say the odds are high. If this would, because as far as technology goes, she seems to be like peak, like it's a high level.
yeah.
But
She
you
says
can
she
build
was unique.
something. Yeah. Well,
She
we don't
said,
know.
I'm
We don't
unique.
know. Well, they had a fight, whatever. They killed most of the robots or all of the robots, or they
Mhm.
just kind of disappeared. Because you would think about it, right? You look human, so you can slink away and just chill somewhere for like 60 years, and then bounce, and then go somewhere else and do chill for another 60 years. Like you can do that easily,
Yeah,
and no one will bother. Well, I was 60. I would say 40. You can get by with 40.
yeah, yeah. And she hasn't
Just
like
get
the other
some.
thing is she hasn't changed her looks or anything,
Yeah. So
at
like,
all.
nobody has questions. Like,
So
no one's like, wait a minute, that's a robot. Like, no one's asking any questions. They just assume she's cloned too.
it's
That's
crazy.
wild to me. That's
So
wild.
when as Tellem was squirming away, I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I loved it for real.
Here comes
Um,
Harry with the
Harry
hammer,
was
man.
like, hey, and um, he was like he had it looked like a branch he had really something really heavy and something really big, man, and
It looked like a hammer or
he
an axe
smacked
or
her
something.
and
I don't know what
yeah,
it was.
he smacked her in the
Gave her the one,
face and
two.
she knocked her out, and then he went
Mm-hmm.
over her and like smashed her 3 times.
That angle was nuts.
And dude, I was like, this is a show, people, okay? But I was clapping and yelling so loud. I was like, yay, this chick is dead. I'm telling you. Someone left a comment. They were like, I think we need Tellem as a villain. I'm like, no, yes, we do need a villain. We just don't need Tellem as a villain. That's a dumb
And you're
villain.
done with her.
I'm done with that chick. Now, let me ask you this. Now that,
Yeah.
because like when Salvor like sort of threw those rings in and it sort of broke up the mind meld, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that Tellem is dead, are
Mm-hmm.
those other metallics free? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Mhm.
Tellem has been keeping these people hostage. They can't think for themselves. I don't think they would do half of the stuff they're doing if Tellem wasn't in their head, kind of controlling things.
Mhm.
Which is, you got to think about how powerful Tellem is. Because how many metallics are there? Like say like 100,
Doesn't look
200?
like a lot, maybe 100, 200, right?
Yeah, around that range. So you got to think about how powerful she is to be able to keep all of these people in line, just whatever her basic thing is, on top of dealing with new people that different levels of powers, whatever. Because Gail seems pretty powerful
Mhm.
because she can see in the future. So like that's as far as powers go, that's pretty unique.
Yeah.
And so like as a factor goes, that's a problem. So you gotta think she's got her basic thing, her basic line of code, her DOS is going on with the people around her. Then she's fighting Tellem, and she's fighting Gale. I mean, she's fighting Salvor,
Yeah.
and she's fighting Gale. And so like that's a lot of stuff going on, man. That's a lot for
Yeah.
one person's mind to keep going. But like, I guess once you get in line, I guess that's easier.
Ye-
It kind of makes your life easier to keep everybody in place. But I don't know, as far as power goes, she seems super powerful.
I think it's interesting that Harry wanted to make the second foundation on Ignis. I also think it's
Mhm.
fascinating that because he wanted to do that, he also knew that Tellem
Mhm.
had to go because he said, Gail, I want you to be the head of Ignis, right? So Tellem had to
Mhm.
leave. So he needs the metallic for something. And so
Yes.
if we sort of take that sort of theory
Do the
right
math.
now, huh?
You take the math. You
Right.
carry the one.
And if we
It's kinda
take that, exactly, if we take that right there and then go to the last segment, which is what's
cool.
happening on Terminus and how, you know, Day was fascinating in this segment. He was so fascinating. He looked so much taller than everyone else. And I was like, man, how tall is this guy? Right. So I was like, you know, checking it out
Big.
on
He's
online.
a big
He's
guy.
he's
He's not tiny.
6'5". And
Yeah, he's a big guy.
he said that to get in shape for this program, and he was already in
Mhm.
shape. He said, but during the lockdown, he started doing
Mhm.
yoga 2 hours a day, not once a
That
week, a day,
wild.
right?
That is wild.
6'5",
Yeah.
like straight up an Adonis, right? And I'm just like, okay, wow. So do you think that based on that theory with Ignis and the
Mhm.
metallics, right?
Mhm.
And Harry wanting Gail to run Ignis, the second foundation.
Mhm.
Hober Maller being sent to the Spacers to try to get their help, right? Do you think it's even possible that Terminus, the destruction that we think may have happened on Terminus, actually is
Mhm.
real? Do you think so?
Okay, when I saw the show,
Mm-hmm.
I thought like, "Oh damn, this is a wrap here."
It's pretty
But
dope.
now that I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
it's possible that they just put this in his head and he's like, "Okay, everything's done here. I can go home now.
Dude,
I don't have to think about this place
man,
again."
yo, do you know what? If that's so true, and I would not be surprised if that was the case. But if that was so true, and they let us know like on the season finale, I would wait
Mhm.
2 years for the next season to start.
Anything is possible at this point
Yes.
because you got to think they spent an entire season showing you how powerful metallics are. Like think about like stuff they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
So now they have a jump. I don't know how far in the future they are or in the past they are, but like they have a jump of at least 20 years. I would say maybe. We don't know the timelines for they're in 100 and it was 120 something like that. They're at least 100 years in advance ahead of everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And clearly they won. And it doesn't seem like it was that long before they got to this point in the first place. So uh because they didn't have to they didn't go into like a suit or whatever to do their jump. They're regular.
Yeah.
So wherever they went was pretty close by. So you could say 2 years after this whole thing got started, where they get to this planet. So I would say that if you think about it, they probably had a good 60 years on this planet, 70 years on this planet before you got all the stuff on the other planets. So the possibility of them having people over there just helping, just nudging certain things in a certain way
Yeah.
is high.
Yeah.
Is very
It's
high.
very high. And the other thing is this: is I do not believe that the
Mhm.
Invictus was defeated I just come on. They got the Whisper ships. Come on, that did not happen,
That's the crazy part. Like,
right?
so if you have an Invictus level ship that's got whisper technology in it, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a giant problem.
And the other thing is this, right? When they showed like what was going on the Invictus, right? they were still using old jump technology, having to plug in. Did you see that?
Yeah,
I saw the people sitting down, and I was like, "Oh, they're in the same chairs, right?"
that's the old chip from last season.
Yeah,
So that that's
right.
the.
Okay, but do
I
you
don't
think
think.
it's possible that they would have
Mhm.
taken the old jump technology and replaced it with the new jump technology in the Invictus?
That's very possible
Yeah.
too. So now here's the thing:
What's up?
all bets are off.
Hmm.
You have the possibility they just put this thing in their head and said, "All right, get out of here."
Yo,
That's
Keo.
possible.
Wow.
It's also possible that they
Wow.
did destroy the ship. Like
Hmm.
that's all bets are off here.
Hmm.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
I think that most likely
Hmm.
they did do the thing on their brain, and none of this stuff happened.
And why do you think that?
Well, because first of all, we need the foundation. Like the first foundation's got to fight the mule. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. So the foundation can't go anywhere. They got to fight the mule. So it based upon the books though, but we're moving away from the books. But like that's a key part of the book. And they showed you that he's there. So I don't know. Anything's possible. Maybe he finds Foundation 2 instead of Foundation 1. And they
Hmm.
just got a couple survivors, they went somewhere else. Like that all this is possible.
Yeah.
Like all bets are off. But I think most likely he's seeing a false image in his head and he just left.
Yeah.
Just kicked rocks and just jumped up,
Hmm.
going home.
I
That's
think
what I think is going
I
on.
think I kind of agree with you. I think that it was just too easy. I mean, here you go. You were talking about the Invictus, and remember the Invictus. Like I said, it could have
Mhm.
just started jumping around all of the 100, Empire ships because it has that
Mhm.
technology. Boom here, boom there, boom. Just whatever. This was a
They
ship.
just sat there
This
and
was
did
a
nothing.
right, and that's what I'm saying. It was too easy. How they got
Mhm.
destroyed. How they figured out that there was navigation in the back, a navigational brain in the back of the Whisper ships.
Mhm.
Did you ever see the navigational brain in Hober Maller's Whisper ship? No.
No, we never seen it. They told us that was a thing, but we never saw it.
Okay,
So
but
that's the thing. Like
it was also
anything's
kind of
possible.
easy to figure
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out
no,
too,
but
right?
that was pretty easy for him to be like, wait a minute, there's a thing. Like, how would you
Right.
know?
There
You're
are two
outside of
people
this
on
ship.
board. No, it's not. It's a brain. Like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I got questions. I got lots of questions, right?
But you know what?
I don't-
I am so I love the questions with this show. I mean, if it was like a goofy show, like it was just like why is this
yeah,
like
yeah,
no?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
don't
love
care.
the
Yeah, it
whys,
was goofy. I don't care.
I love the
This is
gaps.
good.
I love the holes, they put it all together. They
Mhm.
sort of stitch everything together really well.
Mhm.
So your boy Dayman, he was really angry. He basically killed Cermak, right?
Yeah.
He stabbed him. Like, whoa. And then he was like, kill all the clerics, the whole nine. And it was also,
Bro.
here's the other thing too, right?
Mhm.
They were building this technology
Mhm.
inside of a church. That just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, let's just say if like day comes to Terminus and you have a
Mhm.
church with all of this, with the personal aura rings, everything, come on. That doesn't make any sense to me, man.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they put this in our psyche or in
Hmm.
our brain, but that's not really what happened.
Yeah.
There's definitely something going. But like, here's the question, right?
Hmm.
How do you do that to Demerzel? Because she's a robot.
Okay. Oh, wow. I'm okay. So
Mhm.
I think that again, I think that Demerzel she formulated the whole joint, right? She's
Mhm.
okay with Day receiving this metallic sort of like thought, She's okay with that.
Okay.
She's part of it.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
when she was on the 20th Fleet, she said to Bell, she was like, I chose you.
Mhm.
Like, I chose you. Do your job. I chose you. Right. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
wow, okay. And the other thing is when they were inside the vault
Mhm.
and Harry was like, you know this, and he was talking to Day. When Harry looked
Mhm.
at Demerzel, she did this. She was like, so
Yeah, yeah,
I just
yeah, yeah.
I think that there's
There's
some
something going
connection
on
there
here.
between Harry, psychohistory, the
Mhm.
20th Fleet, Bell, again, we now know that Demerzel is running the entire show. She is in charge of all of these half men. We know that, right?
It's a genius way to do it too, because
Mm-hmm.
she's not going to change. She's the
No.
same person.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys are changing and are different every time.
Yeah.
So like she's kind of like herding them into the same area. But like I think this is the first time that they notice that they're different. So like the idea that Demerzel is seeing this stuff and is trying to make changes to it on her own is interesting,
Yeah.
because they, who's to say what's really history, whatever is really happening? We can't.
Dude.
We don't have no idea.
I mean, I kept thinking, I was like, when they first discovered the Invictus and they were like, this technology, they called it a planet destroyer. And then all of a sudden it took like 5 minutes to destroy this thing. I'm like, no, that's not true. It's not true. It's not
It
true.
don't make any sense.
It's not
It doesn't
true.
seem like they had any like shields or anything on it. They seem like they're just open.
Yeah.
But let this happen. I got questions. I'm skeptical. All right.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the season finale, man, it may be an hour and 15 minutes long. Man, I am looking.
Hope so.
I watched this, Keo. I watched this
Yeah.
episode on Thursday. I watched it on Friday. I watched it on Saturday. I watched it on Sunday. I watched it this morning. It was that good. And,
it was good.
And what I did was each of those days, I watched episode number 8 first and then 9, just to get it all together. This is like one of those, it's almost like an article in The Atlantic that's like 30,000 words, like a long form article. It's just like, I may have to read that a couple times just to like wrap my head around the whole joint, you know? That's why I'm watching these joints a few times, because there are some things that I didn't see. And I'm like, almost, like again, when Demerzel shook her head like that, like, no, don't go there, to Harry.
Dude,
I didn't know.
Like, I didn't notice it the first time.
Yeah.
I did. The second time I watched it, like, oh.
Yeah. So this show, man, is woo. And you mean to tell me, here's the other thing, right? Belle lost this partner, Glay, right? And I think that it doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem like Glay, he still has something to say. I think he's still going to be around. Remember, he is the one who wants revolution. He is the one who wants to destroy the.
He's the one. Like,
which
team we got to join? Let's go over there. Let's win.
Exactly. I don't think he's dead. I think there's something else going on. Even though it looked like, it looked like, the Invictus, fell on the planet and destroyed everything. But like we both think, that may have been just a vision that the Metallics placed inside of Day.
A whole season putting this idea in our head that someone could put something in your head. They spent a whole season on that.
Yeah.
Then not to use it, I don't know. Anything's possible at this point. I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I'm totally skeptical, man. Okay, so we are talking about Foundation Season 2, Episode number 9. Long ago, not far away. Keo, what are you rating this episode?
I give it 10. That's straight up 10. It was fire.
It's like nothing else. It's like, it's a 10. Nothing else. It's a 10. I'm also giving this joint a 10. I'm giving everything a 10. I'm giving the production value a 10. What I really realized is this is probably one of the best storytelling shows I've seen this year. The storytelling on this joint is crazy. And again, like I said, they do a really, not a lot of shows have the ability to stitch all of these different sequences together,
Yeah.
They do a really good job at that, man. Like I said, this storytelling is sick, man. This is great writing. Great writing. Crazy. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.